Hey everyone, welcome back to Catch of the Week. We're really excited for our second episode with our co-founder and CFO, Corrie Herman. She will
Hello.
be answering some questions about being a CFO and a parent during the pandemic and running a business. So we're super excited to get started. So Corrie, we wanted to start off by asking you a little bit about how you're balancing the needs of the business with self-care right now.
Great question. I think I wasn't balancing it early on. I think it was a mad dash to balance or to do everything. As this has gone on, I kind of recognized that I was, burning myself out and also just not, putting priorities on the business, putting the priorities on the team, putting the priorities on my son, and not being a super pleasant person to be around when all that was said and done. Now, definitely putting some boundaries in on when work ends, when I'm, trying to make family time a reality when we're all under the same roof has been really helpful for me. Also leveraging the weekends for like just a couple hours of reading by myself or going for a walk by myself, something to just feel like I have some space around me is been the most helpful for me, I guess. So some days are easier than others, but that's the process I found to at least make myself feel like, I don't know, that I'm handling things the best I can. Some days are really pressure and they just have to be okay with that, but that's the life of a business owner anyway. This just kind of amplifies some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like alone time is so important, but especially as a parent, and especially as a mom, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to like homeschool and be fun and keep a schedule, and like kind of seeing those routines go around just like exhausted me just reading them. And I'm curious like about how you found like a routine in your day and something that works for you and Eli and Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Early on, I had this vision that I was just going to be the homeschool mom queen. I had boards, I had plans. I had, all those Pinterest ideas and all of the websites like ready to, and locked and loaded. And I was just going to like pepper those in between meetings and between conversations. And my son was going to be in a great mood every single day. And like that, in my head, it was going to be successful. And it wasn't a week and a half. And I realized that plan wasn't going to be positive for him. It definitely wasn't positive for me. So I really had to kind of retool my expectations about what is realistic, given that, our typical routine is that he has, expert teachers that are teaching him for 6 hours a day, and I get to get my work done in that time frame, and then we can be a family on the others. And that is not the normal now. So now I kind of try to dedicate a couple of days of my week to really helping him with like education in school, but I really had to let go of like a formulaic routine in which he was going to become, the expert third grader at the end of this, because that's just not exactly how we can structure our life. So that's what we've done. And a lot of that was me like self-realizing that there's only so much I can do, and that it's more important to make sure that he's happy, that we're with the time we are spending together is relatively positive. And, I don't have to teach him everything on a worksheet. There's other lessons that we could potentially learn during all of this. So the academic side of myself had to kind of get pushed to the side for the sake of the sanity of our household.
Yeah, well, and just like to be gentle with yourself too, right? Like this isn't a normal circumstance, and you have not chosen to be a homeschooling parent. And so regardless of like the intention and like your wishes for that, it's not, reasonable to ask yourself to have this skill set that you have not had time to like work on. And not to mention the fact that you're also working full time as a CFO and a co-founder, like during an incredibly stressful time. That alone would be plenty of work. And so, yeah, just I really admire the way that you've kind of balanced that. And I hope that you're giving yourself all the credit you deserve because it's very impressive.
No, I don't. I'm trying to give myself the credit. I think there's a lot of pressure out as the mom to be able to be the teacher and the primary care provider for your son and when we're all in the same home, we should be able to do this. I should be able to do this. I should be able to do all these things. And it's a challenge to remind myself that no, that's impossible for anybody, and to give myself some grace in those moments, because and to ask for help. Like, honestly, I had to really like go to Ben and say, like, I need share responsibility when it comes to school and to just monitoring him, because we both have a lot on our plates, and that responsibility can't fall solely on me, as much as our son likes school with me more than with Ben.
Maybe Ben can do some like engineering coding stuff and they can build a video game together or something.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They do different stuff, which I actually think he learns a lot from. But yeah, so you're just balancing those things. But I did have to like step back and realize what I was really able to do, and what I wanted to do too. There's parts of it that I really like. It's a great opportunity for me to like sit down and really see what my son's learning and help him learn some of these things. And it's definitely teaching me patience, and it's also interesting to just kind of learn all the new online classroom tools and things like that, like it from, just the marketing and business side. That's fascinating. There's part of it that I really want to spend on it, but it's just, I can't do 100% in all of those different buckets right now. So we're managing.
Yeah. Are there any resources that you're utilizing that have made things easier? Any favorites for either homeschooling or even just like relaxing yourself?
Not trying to think. I mean, we've been fortunate that his school has been able to give us a lot of resources and tools, and games types of things that really resonate with him. He's a 9-year-old boy, and so some of these math games that are a little bit more like adventure driven is helpful for me because he likes to do those things. Honestly, we've also just had so much support from family and friends who are willing to spend a half hour or an hour with him to tutor him. So his grandpa does that a couple days a week, and I've had friends who are teachers that are like, they recognize that it's hard for a parent to teach classes that they haven't, they're not fully equipped with, or with the knowledge for. So just knowing that I have those right resources has been incredibly beneficial. And I think everybody is, recognizes that it's not everybody's strength to be a homeschool, teacher. And so I've been relying on those folks for sure, to help out. And I think, Eli really likes it. He gets to see a new face. He gets to pretend to play work in office by being on a Zoom call. And I don't know, it's fun learning for him too.
Yeah. Are there any things that you wish you'd known at the beginning of this process that you've learned now?
Anything I wish I would have learned or known? I wish I wouldn't have put so much pressure early on. I wish I would have known it was going to just last for as long as I think before, when this first started, it was like, oh, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we kind of prepared for 2 weeks. And then it became a month and a half, and like that, those types of things. I think that's just the nature of this entire situation, is that the uncertainty of end, or even what end is or could look like, makes it hard to really feel like we can really establish a routine. And so I tend to like routines. I like to have those plans, and not having that is a little bit frustrating. But so we were making, we made plans for like those small junctures, and really now it's like, can we step back and say, like, what does this look like for a longer period, and really put some more concrete plans in, I guess, in place. But that's a wish list. I wish that would have been the case, but like I said, we've just kind of had to learn and roll with it as things have changed every couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And giving yourself grace and also giving like your family grace too, because this is hard for an adult. And so like as a child, like being able to grapple with this feels really challenging.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And seeing like he's got good days and bad days too. And like, okay, we're all just, got to give each other some space and be willing to, pivot our day or just say, okay, we're going to do something different and we'll try again tomorrow. And it's the best we can do. But it's been, I won't say it hasn't, I have learned a ton about myself and my child, and that's a pretty big benefit. So if there's a positive light from it all, it's that the time I don't think has been wasted, and it's been a positive adventure in a lot of ways. Just doing the shared, running a business, running a house, running school, and I say running school very loosely, but trying school.
Yeah. How do you think things have changed? I mean, you and Ben run a business together as a couple, which is kind of incredible to me regardless of like a national crisis. But how has parenting while running a business looked when you're working from home versus in the office?
Yeah, definitely easier. Obviously when he was younger, it was more of a challenge because I did work from home then, or while he was younger. And then when he started school, there's a much more cleaner boundaries and lines that get defined when there's that routine. And now that that's not there, it's definitely harder to delineate and do the lines. Like we tried for a long time to try to make it like work happened at work, and then when we came home, we were a family, to try to like have that healthy divide as a couple that runs a company. It's really, you gotta have to make sure you make time for that. Otherwise, it's really easy for things to get to overlap. Mm-hmm. We did that for a while, and then we also realized that so much of our life, it became, as the company got bigger, it was much harder to, like, we needed some home time to just like sync up on things because we wouldn't see each other all day. When there's many days where we don't. So then it's like, okay, well, that's no longer helpful. So then it was okay to like talk about work at the dinner table, or but we would always say like, but here's the cutoff, and now it's Eli time, and kind of, so that line has kind of shifted now, because now those conversations tend to happen over lunch or, kind of throughout the day, because it's just so top of mind right now, and we do have to move so fast that sometimes we do have to have some critical conversations at 8:00 after Eli's, gone to his room for bed. And so running the business has become much more fluid again. Like when we first started, we aren't able to maybe hold those lines the way we used to. I think we'll get back there, because at some point that will get old, but right now we just have to be so in lockstep and having a lot of conversations that dividing those things is not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like for everyone, like the idea of trying to figure out like, when do you stop talking about work? Like that's hard as any couple. And then like when you're running a business together, it's like so tempting because it is something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the time the conversations around like couples talking about work or people who work together talking about work becomes like very negative. And it's like, in some ways, yes, like you want to have like that separation, but I also feel like there is like, a joy and a passion around the business. And so recognizing that and allowing space for that as well.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Like there's a point where that's like, we bond a lot over those conversations too. So it is part of our relationship. And so when we had too strict of rules, it almost became restrictive and frustrating. So
yeah,
it's a fine line. And I think it's one of the things that we just always been like, talk about and make sure, like, hey, are you okay? Is this, like, or let's just not talk about work, and just make sure that we're okay with bringing those things up if either one of us is feeling that, we need space, or we need a divide, so to speak, of work versus family life. But like I said, we've been doing this for 14 years, so we do a pretty good job of like having no problems saying something's got to change, or we need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being so vulnerable and real about this and having this conversation. I think it'll be really helpful for folks. I think, regardless of whether people are working together at the same company now at home, a lot of couples are working, in the same space, and having context around like how you all have navigated that successfully for over 14 years is really incredible. And I thank you for taking the time to chat through it with me.
No, for sure. My pleasure. I think we've learned a lot in it. I think it's, for folks that are doing it for the first time, I know it's a challenge, but it's, it can be a positive experience.
A growing moment for everyone's relationships.
Right.
Thank you so much, Corrie, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.